working man needs a tough truck. What does that mean exactly? At Dodge, that means it can take anything thrown at it. That means it's tough, from the road to the roof. That means rugged construction throughout. Just because this truck's tough doesn't mean the ride has to be. For 1973, Dodge has independent front suspension. This thing rides better than some cars do. This Dodge is made for hauling loads back there, but pampering people up here. But this is what makes it Dodge. Dodge has features like this: easy access fuse panel. You want to know how I know Dodge makes tough trucks? Well, this truck's over 50 years old. Welcome back to Obsolete Automotive. I'm Austin. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Today's topic, work trucks. I'm kind of curious what everyone else's work trucks are, or some might call it a shop truck. So be sure to comment. Let me know what kind of vehicles you have as work trucks, and how you use them, how they stack up, what defines a work truck or shop truck. Let me know. Today we're talking about my 1973 Dodge D100 Utiline, step side, if you want to call it that. This is my go-to work truck. I've had this truck for I think about 6 years now. It's actually my first truck that I've owned. I've had many others since then, but this was actually the first actual truck that I bought and used as a truck. That's why it's gotten a lot of use, because prior to that, I was using my cars as essentially a truck, stuffing the trunks full with stuff sticking out the back. Didn't work that well. This thing saved me a lot of headache and allowed me to do a lot of things. This truck's hauled about everything from stone to furniture, and like you name it, it's been there in the back of the truck. Makes many dump runs. This thing is a workhorse. It's a little rough around the edges, but kind of to be expected. I got this truck out of Georgia, bought it from a friend of mine. I had to do some work to it. It needed floor pans, part of the rocker was rotted out. The interior was thrashed, needed a new seat cover and the rubber flooring replaced. Even the dash pad, it's not even really a dash pad, dash cover was destroyed, just baked in the sun. Also had to replace the bed of the truck. The wood slats had rotted away and it had a piece of plywood in the back. It now needs to be replaced again because I got rear-ended by a Prius that was going like 30 miles an hour probably, I don't know, 4 years ago. It tweaked the bed and cracked the boards, and they've succumbed to the weather. So eventually they're going to need replacing again, but I'll show you a close-up of that later on in the video. Next, we're going to talk about just kind of the exterior of this truck and what exactly it is, some features of this model, and things to expect. This is a Dodge D100. It's a custom 100. There was a 100 model which did not have the custom, and really I can't tell what the big differences were, other than the custom allowed you to have more color options for your interior and maybe a little bit fancier seats. All the D100s came stock standard with the bright finish chrome bumper. You could option a painted white bumper, but apparently it was extra cost according to the dealer album. Now these trucks are known as tin grills because the whole front is, well, aluminum, and they use this styling for quite a ways. You'll note this truck doesn't have a whole lot of fancy color schemes or anything. This is your basic work truck, I guess you'd say. It's all business. You can see that the tailgate still has the old chains, kind of like a leftover bed, pretty much the same bed they had on the 60s trucks. 1972, when this new truck came out, new cab and everything, the bed's kind of a leftover. The 72 model is all new body style. The rear bumper is actually optional on these trucks. This one has the optional step side bumper, which is just painted black there. Kind of looks like an old 50s or 40s bumper too. You can see that if you know anything about these trucks, that this top rail here is round. If you know, then you should expect it to be square. This thing was so rotten that I actually cut it off and then welded this piece of pipe on there. Before that, the tailgate was actually flexing and bending anytime you tried to step on it or stack stuff in there. When I got this truck, it just had a kind of a homemade hitch mounted here on the bumper with a ball on it. I actually bought a receiver hitch kit and mounted it on this truck. Really, these trucks were mostly unchanged all the way up until 1993 for a lot of things. The cabs are almost identical. A lot of things are the same, which is kind of amazing. They kept a truck from essentially 72 to 93 with the same cab structure. You can see this being a truck from the 70s, they had to add reflector and a marker lot, and they're a little too big for the old bed. That's kind of a leftover, like I said. So they just kind of screwed them on there. It looks kind of funny. Spare tire is under the bed, and there is a nut here that you twist off and drop the whole thing down. Put a piece of safety wire on there to make sure it doesn't turn off, because when I mounted this receiver hitch on there, I had to move this mount over a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of crooked, but just because it interfered with where the hitch was. But it's been on there for several years and not been a problem. So we got the dog dash hubcaps, the non-shiny ones, which was standard on these trucks. And here's the step side. It is handy. You can step on this in order to reach things in the bed. This is what people call the Birdbath Hood. The hood's lower here in the center, so when it rains, water sits in here. And I have actually seen birds using my hood as a bird bath, funny enough. Let's take a look inside. Got metal door panels. Armrest has been fixed with tape and stuffed with napkins. We'll mention that the gas fill is right here. This truck does have the gas tank inside the cab. It's right behind the seat. No, it doesn't smell like gas inside, and it's not just going to explode for no reason. But it is behind the seat, which a lot of people are afraid of, but it really isn't going to be a problem. The window crank knob broke off several years ago, and it's actually laying right over here on the dash next to the rat. But I haven't gotten around to putting it back on because I don't really think about it, because I kind of want to use this truck for work, and which is, you know, regularly, but not often enough that I think about that's missing. I always kind of forget about that. As far as the interior, I had to replace the seat cover. This is actually a seat cover for a 73 Ford F-150. Dimensions are nearly identical. Had to do some modifications on the back to get it to mount up, but not a problem at all, and like half the price of the Dodge seat covers. So this being just a work truck, kind of going as cheap as possible. Like I said, I did have to replace the floor pans on both sides, and I put a new rubber mat in, which is dirty as heck, and I don't think I've vacuumed this thing since putting this in. Got stuff laying in the seat as usual. Carburetor cleaner and a rag. Oh, someone did cut a speaker into the door at some point. Need to oil those hinges. You can see that we got some interesting things up here, but typical work truck stuff. Gloves, rags, ratchet straps, funnel, you know, stuff like that. Oh, and I got this off of a door that was on the side of the road, like a bathroom door. So I peeled that off, and it's been in here ever since. We do have a rat. And there's the knob for the door handle, which I'll put on eventually, probably. Guess let's take a closer look at the instrumentation and controls. So, light switch on the far left here. 1-click park lights, 2 clicks headlights. Of course, down on the floor is our high and low beam dimmer switch to control that. And we do have that. It says, do not use parking brake, thanks. So I have never used the parking brake, but you would push that down, and here's the release for it. There is a kick panel vent over here on this side. You pull this slider towards you, and it'll let air blow through those grates there. Push it forward to close. We got our alternator, fuel, temp, and oil pressure gauges. And then we have our brake warning there in the center, which will come on if you have a failure in the brake system. Of course, we got our speedometer with odometer. Truck's got 90,510.5 miles on it, looks like. Here on the right side of the dash, we got a aftermarket radio, Spark-O-Matic with tape deck, AM/FM. I actually put this in here. I think this truck originally was a radio delete, and then somebody had cut in and put in a radio, but it just did not look right. It had digital face. It was very bright at night time. So I made this fancy metal plate and then installed this old stock Spark-O-Matic. Down here on the bottom, we got our heater controls. In 1973 Dodge trucks, the heater and defroster was standard. They all came with it, with the D100, D200. We have our windshield washer and wiper here. So 2 clicks. It's a 2-speed wiper. Then you push in for the washer, squirt windshield washer fluid on the windshield, and then you can wipe it off. Of course, we got an ashtray here with lighter. Ashtray needs to be emptied. This is I don't know, I think it's for the music maker under the hood that is all destroyed right now, but it doesn't do anything. But that was for an auxiliary horn or something. We do have emergency flashers over here on the column, which is this knob. Pull that out and the flashers will come on. Of course, ignition switch. On this trucks, at least on this particular one, you don't have to have the key on to unlock the gear shift. You can just pull it out of gear and watch the truck roll away. So keep that in mind. If you park your truck somewhere, I always usually lock the doors just for simple fact if somebody could knock this out of gear fooling around. Horn button in the middle here. It's got a very puny sounding horn. That probably needs to be replaced. This dash cover I replaced. A friend of mine gave me this one, which was nice. My original was disintegrated. It was just absolutely trash. So I'm glad that he gave me that. Up top, we do got visors. Have a vanity mirror here, aftermarket of course. Some postcards that were sent to me. The cab is metal, of course, so got some magnets up there, a seal here. We do have a day-night mirror, and of course Bronto here. There is a interior light that kind of works sometimes and sometimes don't. I never messed with it because, well, like I said, work truck. Very rarely driving this at night. Do have a passenger visor there. On the floorboard, we got all kinds of stuff. This goes into the work truck aspect. We got a limb chopping tool here, jumper cables, a 4-way lug wrench, cargo net. Oh, these are handy. Some rags, a high-vis vest. Mainly have this for when I go to the landfill. And that's the empty drink bottle, and a hole where there used to be a speaker that I guess got taken out. But I remember when I first got the truck, this was actually a coffee can lid, but that has since disintegrated as well. The passenger side does also have a vent here. You can open up to get air blowing through. Take a look in the glove box. They do have this handy access to your flasher and fuses, and on the back side we got extra fuses held in by the cover. Really neat and very handy. All kinds of crap in here. There's the original owner's manual, page 26. I wonder why he wrote that. Whoever did, I guess the original owner wrote that on here. Oh, required maintenance. I guess he wanted to keep tabs on that. And we do have some original information, previous owner, Herman Huth, Toccoa, Georgia, which is kind of neat that's in there. I guess he had an Incredicell diehard battery at some point. I did manage to find the granddaughter of the original owner of this truck on Facebook. I messaged her asking if I could get photos of the truck or any stories or whatnot. And she did tell me about this button down here. It made horn noises and other things, that she remembered that as a kid. But then she went radio silent, and I never did get any old pictures or anything. I don't know if it creeps her out, or I guess it creeped her out by me asking for photos of her granddad. I mean, I just wanted some old photos of the truck, and it'd be cool to have a photo of the original owner too, just so you know who he was and everything. The 10 piece that goes on the end of the steering wheel actually fell off at some point, and I discovered that you can actually put a quarter on here. It's the perfect size. So I put a appropriate bicentennial 1776 to 1976 quarter here on the shift knob. Felt that was kind of neat and appropriate, and I guess most people won't notice it, but I just thought it was a neat way to replace that piece of trim that was supposed to be in there. We do, of course, have vent windows. On this truck, you pull them towards you. Push it down to lock. And in order to open the door, like most MoPars of this era, you just pull on this handle here. That'll open the door. Now on these trucks, you can't lock the driver's door by pushing a plunger down. You actually have to use the key on the outside. But on the passenger side, you can push the plunger down and shut it. They showed that as like a feature for these trucks. Also, the full width back glass was a feature of these trucks. They touted it as being easier to see out of and all that. They also had an optional, you could get a spare tire mounted here, which I thought would be really cool, but very few of those seem to be around. Now, in order to open this tailgate, you got hooks on either ends with the chains. So you'll pull the hook out. I usually set one there, then go over here to the other side. Pull this out. Then you're gonna slide the hook into the hole on the tailgate. Come back over here. Same deal. Got both hooks on there. And there you have it. There you can see my sorry state of bed slats. Like I said, when I got hit by the Prius, the board split, and over the years the water's kind of gotten in there and they need to be replaced again. I did get stainless strips and hardware when I did do this. Originally this would have all just been body color, but I did get the stainless hardware and everything, and I painted the slats black just because I had that on hand. Just do the reverse of these operations. You can see put through both there. Handy hammer storage. Need that for one of my trailers. And then you can also store things up here too, tire iron. And there was some aftermarket rails on the bed at one point, which is what those are. We got independent cool front suspension. This truck does ride pretty nice because of that. Now let's look under the hood. In order to open the hood, there is a lever here. Stick your finger through the grill, push it to the right. The hood likes to stick on this truck, so I normally have to push this lever over and give it a slap. And there's a safety catch on the right side. Then we got a 225 cubic inch slant 6. This was the smallest engine offering for the 73 Dodge pickup. You could also get a 318 V8, a 360 V8, and a 400 big block V8. And then they have, as far as transmission options, a 3-speed on the column, 4-speed in the floor, and then you also had the Load Flight 727 automatic, which is a Torque Flight 727, which is what this truck has. These trucks also came standard with disc brakes on the front, so it stops pretty good. This particular truck is optioned with power steering. You could also get power brakes and things like that as well. Not a lot going on under this hood either. Maybe the world's smallest radiator, but this thing keeps this truck cool. I can drive it on a 100-degree day, fully loaded, and this thing keeps it cool, surprisingly. Looks a little sketchy, but doesn't even leak or anything. Got a windshield washer reservoir here. You do have handy storage with as much room as in the truck. There's some extra coolant in case I need it. You can see that it's quite grimy and dirty under here. This truck don't really get cleaned very often. Over there's our ignition box there for electronic ignition, and that's their windshield wiper motor, which I replaced at one point. Another thing is you can put the newer mini starters. These mini starters make this engine turn over a little bit faster. Definitely works a lot better. Well, the weather sure has changed. It's quite nasty out. This truck can get up and go. I've driven it on the interstate, and it's no problem. I'm not sure what rear end this truck has in it, but it's nothing crazy low geared or anything. The power steer makes this truck easy to maneuver. It's just a reliable old truck. The automatic transmission's good. No shifting required. This nasty weather isn't helping anything, but it's going to be like this for the rest of the week, so I don't have much of a choice but to just get this driving segment done, and it's not that bad. Need to cut the defrost on higher. Actually, I just need to turn the defrost on. It wasn't even on. Windshield is getting a little foggy. The exhaust leak is a little obnoxious in this truck. It's not as bad as some others, but it definitely needs a new gasket at the exhaust manifold. It's leaked ever since I got the truck. I just haven't really bothered to replace it. Like I said, once again, it being a work truck, I don't really think about these things until I'm driving it. You know, it just kind of slips the mind. And as much as I drive the truck, it's really only for short trips, so I don't really need to really concern myself about the loudness, because I'm not going to be driving it very long. At least that's what I tell myself. The power steering is nice. It does allow you to maneuver this thing pretty well. You can steer with one hand. Well, that kind of concludes the tour of my work truck, 1973 Dodge D100. Like I said, be sure to comment, let me know what kind of work trucks y'all have, and if they compare similar to mine in terms of just kind of being for work. A little dirty, rough around the edges, but always reliable and there to get what needs being done. This truck always starts, it always drives. I don't have to worry about it. So Be sure to let me know what y'all have. I'm just kind of curious. And what was y'all's first truck? Like I said, this was mine. I had many cars before I got this truck, but this was the first truck that I actually owned. With that being said, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. If you haven't, subscribe. There's plenty more content coming and trying to up the production quality. So it's all new to me in many ways, so I'm just trying to make sure that I kind of get all this information out there. Hopefully people find it interesting or enjoyable. If there's any suggestions, comments, feel free to throw them on there too. I don't care if it's good or bad or otherwise. Just let me know. Let me know things you want to see. I got plenty more cars I'm going to do videos on. I might redo some videos as well. So stay tuned. Working man needs a that's too. Working man needs a. Why am I walking here? Why? It's like